By the time Johnny Depp reached his mid-teens, his childhood had already been shaped by constant movement and instability. His family relocated repeatedly, forcing him to adapt to new schools, new neighborhoods, and unfamiliar social environments at a pace few children experience. This rootlessness left him feeling unanchored, unsure where he belonged, and constantly bracing for the next upheaval. Yet, within that instability, Depp developed a survival instinct that would later become central to his identity. Creativity became both refuge and rebellion, offering a sense of control when little else felt stable. Music, art, and imagination allowed him to escape circumstances he could not change. While the frequent moves planted seeds of insecurity, they also nurtured resilience and independence. These early years shaped Depp into someone capable of reinvention, a trait that would later define both his artistic career and his approach to life's inevitable challenges. Early creativity as a lifeline. From a young age, creativity was not a luxury for Johnny Depp. It was a necessity. In a childhood marked by unpredictability, artistic expression offered structure and purpose. Music became his first true passion, long before acting entered the picture. Playing guitar gave him an outlet for emotion that words could not always capture. It also provided belonging, a sense of identity separate from the chaos around him. Art and performance became safe spaces where he could channel confusion, anger, and hope without judgment. These early creative pursuits were not about fame or recognition, they were about survival. Creativity helped him process experiences that felt overwhelming and offered a glimpse of a future beyond constant displacement. This reliance on artistic expression would later become a defining force in his life, sustaining him through professional highs and deeply personal lows alike. A father's greatest fear. One of the most defining moments in Depp's life occurred far from film sets and red carpets, when his daughter Lily Rose became critically ill. While he was working abroad, a sudden medical emergency brought everything else to a halt. Days spent in the hospital replaced scripted dialogue with whispered prayers and quiet fear. Watching his child fight for her life stripped away every illusion of control. Fame, success, and public image became meaningless in the face of such vulnerability. Depp remained by her side, enduring long nights filled with uncertainty and emotional exhaustion. When Lily Rose finally showed signs of recovery, the relief was profound and life-altering. That experience permanently reshaped his priorities, reinforcing the fragility of life and the irreplaceable value of presence. From that moment forward, fatherhood became his most grounding role, outweighing any professional accomplishment. Redefining success through family. After nearly losing his daughter, Depp's understanding of success changed fundamentally. Career milestones and accolades faded in importance compared to the simple privilege of time with loved ones. The experience taught him that life's most meaningful moments often happen far from public view. Parenthood anchored him in ways fame never could, offering clarity during periods of emotional turbulence. His children became both motivation and compass, guiding decisions and grounding him when life felt overwhelming. This shift did not erase his ambition or creativity, but it reframed them. Work became a means of expression rather than validation. Family, once peripheral to his public narrative, became central to his personal identity. The lesson was unmistakable. Success measured by wealth or recognition is fragile, but success measured by love, presence, and connection endures. That realization quietly but permanently altered the course of his life. Love, stability, and emotional complexity. Johnny Depp's personal relationships reflected both his longing for stability and the unresolved struggles he carried. His long-term partnership with Vanessa Paradis provided a period of grounding and family life that he deeply valued. Together, they built a private world away from constant media attention, focused on raising their children. Yet even in this stability, unresolved personal challenges persisted. Later relationships unfolded under intense public scrutiny, amplifying conflicts that might otherwise have remained private. Emotional intensity, vulnerability, and misunderstanding became magnified by fame and media attention. These experiences left lasting emotional imprints, influencing how Depp approached trust and intimacy. While relationships brought connection and inspiration, they also exposed personal fractures that required healing. Through love and heartbreak alike, Depp's story reflects the complexity of human connection when personal struggles intersect with public life, career disruption, and reinvention. At the height of his career, Johnny Depp's professional standing appeared unshakable. Yet a combination of personal challenges and public controversy led to abrupt changes in opportunity. Major studios became cautious, redefining their relationships with him and altering the trajectory of his career. Projects that once felt guaranteed disappeared, forcing him to confront an unfamiliar professional landscape. While this shift was painful, it also opened new creative paths. Independent films and international projects offered artistic freedom and renewed purpose, even without blockbuster visibility. Reinvention became necessary rather than optional. Depp leaned into character-driven roles and collaborations that prioritized storytelling over spectacle. This phase required humility and adaptability, challenging his identity as a leading man. Though the spotlight dimmed, creativity endured, proving that artistic relevance does not rely solely on industry approval or commercial dominance. Legal battles and loss of privacy. Few experiences are more destabilizing than having one's private life publicly dissected. Depp's legal disputes brought intensely personal details into global view, eroding boundaries between the individual and the public figure. Courtrooms replaced film sets, and headlines replaced scripts. Every word, message, and action became subject to interpretation and judgment. While legal outcomes offered some resolution, the emotional cost was immense. Privacy, once fiercely protected, became nearly impossible to reclaim. The experience revealed how public narratives can oversimplify deeply complex human situations. Even victories carried lasting consequences, leaving scars that extended beyond legal documents. Navigating this scrutiny required resilience and restraint, as well as acceptance that public opinion is neither unified nor permanent. The ordeal underscored the emotional toll of prolonged exposure and the difficulty of rebuilding a sense of self when identity becomes a global debate. Finding refuge in music and art. As the pressures of public life intensified, Depp returned to the creative roots that had once sustained him. Music, in particular, became a refuge, a space free from judgment and expectation. Performing allowed him to connect with audiences in a more immediate and authentic way, without the layers of narrative imposed by film roles. Art offered healing through expression rather than explanation. These creative outlets were not about reinvention for public approval, but about reconnection with himself. Smaller, passion-driven projects replaced large-scale productions, offering fulfillment without overwhelming scrutiny. Creativity once again became a source of balance rather than escape. This return to art reinforced an enduring truth. Expression can heal when words fail, and creativity can offer stability when life feels fractured. Through music and art, Depp rediscovered purpose on his own terms. Growth, accountability, and perspective. With time and distance, Depp began reflecting more deeply on the patterns that shaped his life. Accountability replaced defensiveness, and introspection replaced reaction. He acknowledged past mistakes without allowing them to define his entire narrative. Growth, he realized, required patience and consistent effort rather than dramatic declarations. Relationships narrowed to trusted circles, and priorities simplified. Fame lost its power as a measure of worth. What remained were lessons earned through hardship, about trust, resilience, and emotional responsibility. This period of reflection marked a quieter but more meaningful chapter. Rather than chasing redemption, Depp focused on alignment between values and actions. Personal integrity became the foundation upon which he rebuilt his life. The process was neither quick nor linear, but it was honest, grounded, and guided by experience rather than illusion. Legacy beyond headlines. Johnny Depp's story resists simple categorization. It is neither a tale of unbroken triumph nor one of irredeemable failure. Instead, it reflects the complexity of a human life lived under extraordinary visibility. His journey illustrates how talent, vulnerability, success, and struggle often coexist. Beyond public perception, his legacy includes creative risk-taking, emotional honesty, and the willingness to endure reinvention. Lessons emerge not from perfection, but from persistence. The courage to continue creating despite loss, scrutiny, and change. Depp's life underscores the limits of fame as insulation from hardship and the enduring value of connection, creativity, and growth. Ultimately, his story invites a broader conversation about empathy, accountability, and the space society allows for human imperfection. In that sense, his legacy extends beyond cinema into a more universal reflection on resilience and renewal.